special about how it comes from high up in those pristine mountains.
I know Evian's the official water of Wimbledon, but I didn't know it was carbon neutral.
It's been carbon neutral since 2020, and that bottle that you are holding right now, that's made of recycled plastic.
Of course you've got all the facts. I love it. But should we crack on with the show?
Evian's 750 millilitres and 1.5 litre bottles are made from 100% recycled plastic. This excludes the label and cap.
Hello, I'm Matt Edmondson.
And I'm Molly King.
And here we are between the lines at Wimbledon, along with our good pals at Evian for the final time, these 2022 championships.
And what a fortnight it's been. I tell you what, there's been more drama here than in the Stranger Things finale.
You're right. We've seen some incredible champions crowned.
Yeah, if you've missed any of the action during the finals weekend, or you just want to relive a magical 2 weeks with us, then grab those strawberries and cream, sit back and let's pretend it isn't over, at least for the next half hour or so.
As we go between the lines at Wimbledon.
Well, this is rather exciting. We've managed to sneak into centre court again.
I know, so we're back the day after the men's final here at Wimbledon, so it's the Monday now. So actually, the rest of Wimbledon is it's like a ghost town out there, Molly King.
It really is, except we have been joined by the man himself, the winner of Wimbledon 2022, Novak Djokovic, who's standing on centre court again right now. I'm pretty sure he did leave and he's come back. He is in a different outfit, but he is still holding the trophy.
So I didn't know that this was a thing. He's come back to have loads of photographs with all of the people who work at Wimbledon, the ground staff, the ball boys and the ball girls, and of course himself and the trophy. And there's a proper photo shoot going on right now. I assumed that after you won Wimbledon, that was sort of it. You kind of went back to your normal life.
Totally, and wanted to sort of lie down for 4 weeks. That's what I'd want to do, isn't it you?
Yeah, but he's back. He's here, and he's getting some great shots in. And it's actually really weird to see him on centre court not wearing the Wimbledon whites.
Yeah, he's actually in the middle of centre court right now with his 2 little ones. Now, his youngest one couldn't actually be here yesterday because she was too young. So she's actually on centre court with him right now. Adorable.
That is so cool. They are treading on grass that very few people get to tread on out there.
I wonder if they'll take a bite like he did yesterday.
Yes. I don't know that it is advised that you get down on your knees and nibble the grass. I've been escorted off centre court 3 times so far for giving it a go. I'm talking differently because Novak Djokovic is within earshot. Are you?
I'm putting on sort of a serious voice like I'm on the news.
I am. I don't know what's come over us. What's weird, I think, is that I do think that he could hear us, not least because I'm sure he's downloading the podcast, but I mean right now. If I wanted to, I could heckle Novak Djokovic, or even just sort of say something to him. I won't.
Well, what would you say?
What would I say? What if I had one opportunity? I think I'd say, can I have a look at the trophy? Because genuinely, I'm intrigued. It's a beautiful sunny day, and the sun is ricocheting off that trophy, much like many of his aces at the final yesterday.
Oh, you're happy with that? It is a beautiful trophy. It's massive, it's sparkling, and it's bigger than I thought, actually. It's sort of the height of his torso.
All the poses right now they're in the corner of centre court. Centre court.
Oh, yeah, they're sat down and very comfortable, so it's their own floor. Which I think will be until the next time.
Absolutely. Yeah, they should have picnic rights for the year.
We're just playing a game of hide and seek, which is quite hard in here, actually.
It's very hard. Where do you hide on centre court? They've taken the net away. You can't even crouch behind that. I'd go for that little pocket of space underneath the umpire's chair.
Do you know what? I think so that we don't ruin this game, let's go and catch up with Charlie Eccleshare inside somewhere, shall we?
Let's do it.
He's actually not with us today.
No.
He's following the football now. He doesn't stop that man. What, anywhere a ball goes, he's following it.
It just bounces around, much like a ball.
There you go. Okay, so I'm here. Matt, you're here. Charlie, you're not here. Whereabouts are you?
I'm a little bit away from you guys. I'm in South Korea. I'm in Seoul.
So quite far then?
Yeah, I mean, if people are thinking like, maybe he's in like Yorkshire or something. No, I'm quite a long way away.
You're in South Korea, and you've done that just to put some distance between yourself and me and Mol.
That's what Eccleshare has driven me to.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're delighted to have you all the way from Korea, and we've got so much to catch up on because what an amazing singles final we saw this weekend. Where shall we start? Shall we start with the women's and a new name on the Wimbledon Trophy? Charlie, feel free to share your thoughts with us.
For one last time. Really good women's game. I mean, obviously it was 3 sets, and then this one again was a really good 3-setter, a really impressive turnaround from Rebecca Metz, who lost the first set, then lift herself, and she never looked back really after that.
Was it a shock, do you think? Because Laura Robson told us on the last podcast that she was fearless and she played like it.
Totally. I mean, I was talking about this before the match. Her whole thing this tournament has just been like, I'm going to do my thing, and I'm not going to worry about you or anyone else. If I play my game, that should be enough. And she did that again. She was totally fearless. She just did. I mean, her celebration, which we're going to get onto, this kind of muted celebration imaginable for winning Wimbledon, kind of summed it up. She was playing as if it was just a Saturday morning game in the park or something. It was incredible.
Kind of relates back to what we were talking about on the last episode, doesn't it? About how so much of it is to the strength of kind of your mindset and where your mind's at with it all. She's just such a cool cucumber.
Yeah, totally. And I think that, especially in a first final for both of them in a Grand Slam, let alone Wimbledon, you know, that was going to be such a big thing. Who handled the occasion? And massively, I mean, tennis is all about playing mental tricks with yourself. You're telling yourself, it's just another match, it's just another match. And she seemed to actually believe that. And certainly her celebration suggested that. And should say as well, you know, totally up to her how she wants to celebrate. You know, I think we all have a vision of how we would celebrate, which is we would go absolutely mad. But yeah, she just seemed to take it all in her stride, and fair play to her.
Yeah, what would you do, Charlie, if you won Wimbledon? What would come on? I can tell you've been thinking about this. What would you do?
I don't know, maybe a knee slide or something, which would probably be extremely painful, but
Yes, like a kid at a wedding.
like that. Bearing in mind, for me, I would know 1,000,000% this is never ever happening again. So make the most of it. Whereas, you know, they're probably thinking this might not be my only one. I mean, it definitely would be.
I think I treat myself to a caterpillar, and I give myself the face.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Do you spend the extra dosh and go for some camels too?
Well, no.
No, you're not that crazy.
And also, you know, I don't want to spit on my own cake.
And then hand it around.
No, well, I'm not having a referendum. I want Wimbledon. Celebrating it.
Let's talk then about the men's singles, because my goodness me, what a final it was. Obviously, we've got a new name on the women's trophy, but it's the same name on the men's one.
Yeah, that's a good segue actually, because Djokovic is so conscious about everything he eats and all of that. He's talked about before, sometimes in celebration, allowing himself a small square of chocolate to celebrate. So yes, similar to Matt, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, incredible. He's won 7 Wimbledon titles, same as Sampras, 1 less than Federer. He is a bona fide Wimbledon legend, Wimbledon great. He's up there now. He's got 21 Grand Slams, more than Federer at 20, 1 less than Nadal, who has 22. He's pushing hard to be the greatest player of all time. And matches like Sunday remind you of why, because he lost the first set. He had some tricky moments in the second, but you never really doubted him, or I certainly didn't. I mean, I predicted on the previous pod that he'd win in 4 sets, and Novak.
Yeah,
me
you
right.
got it bang on. What a game, though. Moll and I were watching it together, weren't we, yesterday? And it was so tense, and actually such a contrast of 2 different styles of tennis, because as we discussed before, Djokovic gives so little away. He's quite robotic, and I mean that in a positive way. Like, he's such a finely honed and tuned machine. And then you've got Kyrgios, who's so wildly emotional, and that really came out, didn't it, on centre court?
Yeah, and I think that the key moment was in the 3rd set when Kyrgios was broken from 40 love up, and you could just see him imploding. Whereas Djokovic, throughout, certainly at those key moments, just kept his cool and sort of allowed Kyrgios to do that. You know, it was kind of like, let him combust. I'm just going to sit here and ride that out. And all his experience told, you know, in those key moments, that's when that experience really matters. And he just played the occasion really, really well again.
I was just going to say, yeah, you could tell he wasn't going to rise to any of Kyrgios's, like, you know, getting annoyed or getting angry. He was just so, that's where that experience just comes into it, doesn't it? He was just like, cool, you do your thing. I'm over the other side of the net. I'm going to do mine. And he just was just so chilled again.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing for any athlete or, either in a team sport or an individual sport, it's always music to your ears when you see your opponent getting angry or frustrated. And so I think Djokovic just kind of harnessed that energy and said, that's great. That's really great. I don't need to match that energy. I'll just be really zen. And that's probably going to wind Kyrgios up even more. You know what it's like when you're in a mood and someone's really chilled. You're like, get angry as well. So, yeah, I think he just played it perfectly.
We have to talk about Djokovic's speech. Unbelievable. So much banter, by the way, between him and Kyrgios, which I don't think we kind of expected going into that, did we?
Well, they've been on this journey because, they kind of had a bit of tension. And then Kyrgios was saying, actually, I sort of like this guy. Because Kyrgios spoke out in defense of him when all this stuff was going on during the Australian Open about Djokovic getting deported. So I think suddenly things really turned around, and they went from this beef to this bromance, and it's been lovely to see it develop, and a development that no one saw coming, I have to say, because Kyrgios for a while was really digging Djokovic out quite frequently. So amazing, another amazing turnaround.
Yeah, and they even said that they're going to go for dinner at some point.
I know, yes.
Not that night, because obviously it was Novak Djokovic's wedding anniversary, although I think he ended up going to the winner's dinner.
Charlie, do you think that fans have warmed to Djokovic off the back of this? Because it felt like we did really get to see his personality when he was chatting to Sue.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing with Djokovic, what's interesting is that even though he's sometimes struggled for love from fans, he's always given really good interviews and always been very sporting. So I think it is a bit hard on him in some ways. But it's really nice to see that, he is belatedly, I think, getting some love.
So let's move on then from the men and women's finals and chat about other stuff that happened over the weekend, because it was a busy one. What else caught your eye?
Well, the big thing really that otherwise come out was Alfie Hewitt and Gordon Reid in the wheelchair doubles being denied their 11th straight Grand Slam title together, which is just extraordinary. I mean, to get 10 in a row anyway. But shame they couldn't quite do it. And I think they were gutted with that. But still, a great effort from those guys, and I'm sure they'll be back for plenty more.
Yeah.
There was a thrilling men's doubles final, absolutely epic, that just about was won by the Aussie pair of Matt Edmund and Max Purcell. They beat the Croatians Mektic and Pavic. Pavic was playing with a serious injury, so incredible that he managed to last for 5 sets. But that was a thriller on Saturday night. So lots going on, as always, not just with the singles.
Can I just ask you, Charlie, whilst we've got you, I've been wanting to ask you this throughout the whole series. How do these double pairings come about? Is it sort of a player reaching out to another one? Is it coaches saying, oh, your style would work well with this person? Sort of who's hitting up who here?
Car keys in a bowl.
There is a sort of Tinder vibe to it, I've been told before. Not actually an app, but there's lots of kind of mixing and matching, and players go together and then they'll break up and then they'll move on. And sometimes there's real heartbreak, because someone will say, like, we're breaking up because I'm playing singles, which is kind of the equivalent of, like, I need to be on my own for some time or whatever. And then they suddenly pop up with someone else. And the guy's like, you broke up with me to be on your own.
Oh, no.
And now look at you.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
There's a lot of kind of romance and heartbreak elements to it. But chemistry is massive. You get some pairings that just don't click and some that just do straight away.
So do you think they go on sort of like trial dates? Like, do you think they'll say, like, right, let's try out, Andy Murray and Laura Robson. Let's, hit around for a morning and see if it works.
Yeah, they will give it a go. I mean, Andy Murray had a disastrous pairing. I think they only played once with a guy called Marcelo Mello in Eastbourne. And I was there for it. And it was the equivalent of, you've like you've had one drink and you're like, I guess we should stay for another. But you both know it's just like, this ain't going anywhere. Can we leave? Is that okay? Literally after one set was that equivalent.
Oh, no.
It was like, this ain't working.
Andy Murray needed Judy to phone him at that point and say, Andy, there's been a problem at home. We're going to need you to come back. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, exactly that. And so you definitely get somewhere the chemistry it doesn't work.
Gosh, it's fascinating.
Drink more of what makes you sparkle. Try Evian's new sparkling water, fresh from the Alps with light fine added bubbles. Discover Evian sparkling water. Who needs bubbles when you can have sparkles?
So, Charlie, we're going to be speaking actually to a Wimbledon winner in this episode very soon. But before we do that, our friends at Wimbledon and Evian thought all of us should get together and hand out our own awards. So, welcome to the Between the Lines Awards. Matt has put on his tuxedo t-shirt.
I think there's a real fanfare in, but just in case.
Hey, so you can never be too sure.
Yes, Charlie, you're the head judge. Down to you. So, I want to know who is the best leading man and woman of Wimbledon 2022?
Leading man, I'm actually going to give it to Cam Norrie, which is a bit controversial, but you might, I'm hoping I can honour Djokovic in another way. And Elena Rybakina.
Yeah.
Couldn't go anywhere else after Saturday.
Okay, who's the award going to the best individual performance?
So that I'm going to give Djokovic, so he gets honoured. And it's the final 3 sets of his match against Yannick Sinner. The way he, 2 sets down, just turned it around so effortlessly, or seemingly effortlessly, and was just near perfect those 3 sets.
I agree, it was amazing. That one. Best newcomer.
I'm going to go with Harmony Tan, who stunned Serena Williams in the first round.
It's like ages ago.
Won it, and went all the way to the 4th round, kind of out of nowhere, and made such an impression with her really exciting brand tennis. So, yeah, Harmony Tan.
Now, this is a kind of hard one, but best
So here, I'm going to go with Hugo Humbert turning up to a tennis match without his racket.
Yes.
So yeah,
Can I just say,
that gets my vote.
it's lovely hearing the crowd go wild for these awards, isn't it?
They're
in the
loving it,
background.
aren't they?
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, you don't need to add that in.
Yeah, I should have said Charlie does travel with his own sort of hype crew, and they're just really enjoying the podcast. Okay, next up, best drama.
Best drama. I went for Stefanos Tsitsipas versus Nick Kyrgios. Saturday night, court 1, first week. 2 people who don't like each other, giving it both barrels. It was delicious. Great tension, great aggro, great drama.
Well, who then is the award going to for best thriller?
Yes, good one. I had to slightly differentiate here, but I'm going to go Nadal's win against Taylor Fritz, which was just... I mean, you saw me straight after. I came fresh from court, and I'd just been watching, and I was, exhausted. So, yeah, that one for me was just so up and down and incredible.
And the award for best tearjerker.
Again, Rafael Nadal gets two awards for his withdrawal. It was just heartbreaking.
Well, Charlie, I tell you what, you are like a walking encyclopedia of tennis. We have absolutely loved having you on every single episode. We can't thank you enough.
Yes, we want to echo share our love with you. Should we do it all again next year, same time, Charlie?
Absolutely. No, it's been such a pleasure. So thank you so much for having me and letting me share my thoughts.
Oh,
he
he's gone for
loves
it.
it.
He's gone for it. We finally turned him.
Charlie, you're better
After
than that.
3 weeks, you've broken me. I know. I'm not. I'm a broken man. No, it's been amazing. Thank you so much.
We love you,
listen,
Charlie.
you crowd surf off into the distance and say hi to that crew you've brought with you.
Bye, guys.
Now, Matt, there's one more award, actually, that the folks at Evian want to get involved with. Now, this one is called the Sparkling Award.
Oh, yeah.
And it's for you to hand out yourself. Now, this is for your favourite guest on the podcast.
So anyone who's featured on the podcast.
Yeah, anyone who's spoken to you on the podcast can be someone that's been with you in every single episode, giving you loads of banter. It could be someone who's just, a great friend who's there for you, always laughs at your jokes.
Someone with a sparkling personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to someone with beautiful hair,
Oh, yeah.
with an attentive and diligent personality,
Yeah.
who's got an incredibly strong nose. I'm going to give it to Hugo the dog. Hugo the dog. Hugo is great. Honestly, that's my favourite guest, favourite person I've met the whole time at Wimbledon. So Hugo, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, then you get the award. My sparkling guest.
I'm sure his tail is wagging.
Certain of it. What a lovely chat with Charlie.
So good to catch
Gonna
up with
miss
him.
that guy.
I really am. Novak looks like he's leaving now then.
He does. Novak Djokovic. He's off. He's got the trophy. He's got the kids. All the important things. Now, Mole, as Novak goes, I think we could do with some inspirational quotes. Now, as you know, we've asked all our guests on the podcast to share a quote or a piece of advice with us so that it can be passed on and live again. Tennis star turned commentator Laura Robson was with us on the last episode. She left us a message in this very special Evian bottle, made in the design of a bottle from 1922, the year that Centre Court was built. Hear that, Centre Court? We're talking about you. It's not replying. Always operating with dignity. So, Mole, take hold of that.
Yeah, got it.
In it there's a piece of paper. You can take it out and you can find out what Laura's written for us.
Okay, well, she has written.
Now this is the last one, so you know we can sell this.
Okay, here we go. If you can, meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same.
It's good.
Powerful words.
It's a Rudyard Kipling quote, isn't it? One of the most famous poems of all time. And actually, that's a quote that's on the walkway towards Centre Court that Novak
Yes.
will have walked under yesterday.
Powerful words, those.
Yes, it's saying, don't get caught up in your own achievements and don't get caught up in your own downfalls.
Can you do that?
Never. I don't think I've ever lived by that in my entire life. When something bad happens, you know, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And when something good happens, well,
Everyone knows about
everyone knows about it. Absolutely.
it. That's probably why neither you or I have made it onto Centre Court yet.
Yet. Now we have
Yet.
a quote in our back pocket. Who knows what will
Yeah.
happen?
But I tell you what, somebody who has experienced triumph is one of our very own Wimbledon winners.
Yes, please welcome to Between the Lights, Millie Polychak, a star of the future, the winner of the boys' singles. And Mon and I caught up with him earlier, the day after his victory.
It's an amazing feeling to even play on Wimbledon.